seems to be going very fast. And yes, so today is shovel shoulder happy, cranky neck happy day. And I really went a lot of different ways with this because I have so many tricks for neck and shoulders. And really, if you're doing one, you're doing the other. So uh, they 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 go hand in hand. But I'm going to keep it really simple because the ones that I do the most often are the ones that are generally, first of all, most accessible, but also always work for me. So we're going to be doing the cactus arms, and we're also going to be doing what we call angel wings. So not angels in the snow, but angel wings. We will be angels today. So thank you all, and I'll say hello to everybody else when I'm done, but thanks for being with me. And because we're going to be doing some side lying as well as moving our shoulders a little bit, I'm going to give you the option. It's sometimes good to have less padding because you can land and locate yourself more readily in your shoulder blades because the bony landmarks can be really helpful. But if you know you want some more padding, then you can put a blanket on top of your mat too. So it just depends on what you like and what you're using to keep yourself focused. Is it your breath? Is it the bony landmarks like collarbones? Go ahead, touch your collarbones while we're just sitting here. Ah, hello collarbones. So I call these your break struts, right? They keep your shoulders in place more or less. And really, when we look at the shoulders, it's simple design as far as the bones go. If you know where your collarbones are in the front and the shoulder blades in the back, those are the bony landmarks. Now that's where the simplicity ends because there's a whole bag of interesting movements the shoulders make and ways that that can go wrong. And oftentimes, tension in neck and shoulders is hand in hand. So let's get started. I'm stepping back. Little frog in my throat today. And we're going to come down and we'll do just kind of a simple assessment just to see where we are with our neck. And in doing so, when you come down, I am going to extend my legs because when we're working with the upper body, what we don't want is discomfort in the lower body because then that is like, it becomes like the child pulling on your pant leg saying, I need you, I want your attention, right? So instead of being in our neck and shoulders, we're in whatever is causing discomfort in the back, the legs. So think of yourself from your waist down and what can you do to make that part of your body completely comfortable and let it rest. So for me, I really like the bolsters underneath the knees. And then I'm just going to recommend that with the neck, we do just again, like yesterday, we don't want to do a roll because we want the neck to be able to move, but it may be that you've got that little bit of head back position or shoulders lifted. If your shoulders are lifted off the ground, the back edges of the shoulders, or your neck is back, then you want to put something underneath your head just to bring your neck into a neutral position. So your gaze should be straight up in front of you, or your nose is pointing right at the ceiling, not back, but also not forward into what I call pillow head. So that easeful position there. All right. Maybe jelly roll your legs a little bit, shake them around. You can even bop the backs of your knees like you're dribbling them. So honor your lower body. We've done some lovely things for it. Remind it. And then tell it that it's not its day in the sun today. We're going to focus in the upper body. So you might start by placing your hands on your chest and just breathing into your chest. And I know for many of you, we're always told that a belly breath is relaxing, and that's true. But what I also see quite a bit is there's a difference between chest breathing and using our diaphragm versus chest breathing when we're just breathing underneath the collarbones, or this resistant limited breath when we say, oh, they're a chest breather. So I want you to think of the whole circumference of your rib cage, because your breath is coming right up underneath your collarbones. You might even feel it moving your shoulder blades. Feel that relationship between your shoulder blades and the ground. As you breathe in, the way that the shoulder blades meet the resistance of the ground. And then when you breathe out, it's like the ribs just fall into the shoulder blades. And the shoulder blades fall into the ground. So go back and forth, front to back. And then we're going to do a really easy movement for the neck. So as you start to take your next breath in, just slowly begin to turn your head to the left as far as it'll go comfortably. And as you breathe out, come back. And we'll go to the left a few more times, just the left first. Breathe in and just roll your head. And notice when you roll your head, is there anything that's happening where you like tightening your shoulders or your anything in your body really, but particularly around your shoulders, your jaw? Can you keep your face soft, your tongue relaxed? And one of the tricks is where are you initiating the movement from? So we talked a little bit yesterday about what happens if you roll your head from your nose or the roof of your mouth or the base of the skull. How does that feel compared to moving from the chin? And what feels most natural and gets you to your furthest end point? And keep letting those shoulder blades land wherever you want your hands now. And take one more to the left. And just notice how far you go. Stop on the last one. And feel the difference between the left side of the neck, where the muscles are short, and the right side of the neck, where the muscles are long. So simple, but feel it. And then slowly come back to the center. And we'll do that same thing, like we're saying half of a no, turning to the right. And start slow. Feel yourself roll through the base of the skull towards the right ear. So if we're holding tension in the neck, I know a lot of times what I'll sense is that it's almost like I'm trying to hold my head up off the ground. It's hard to just let the head be suspended on the ground or receive the ground. And where are you rolling from? The brow point, the roof of the mouth, even your tongue, the back of the skull. And if you're doing it to your breath, you're rolling the action on the inhalation and coming back on the exhalation. Take your last one to the right and notice how far you go. And sometimes even here we can tell, first of all, there might be a difference in the mobility, right to left, but also is one shoulder trying to tighten up, or can you keep the left side of the neck long, the right side of the neck is short? And roll back to center again. So we're going to do a little bit of warm-up before we go into the other stuff. And now I want you to really feel those shoulder blades. And what we're going to do is you're going to do the same head turn you've been doing. You're going to turn to the left to start. But as you turn to the left, push your right shoulder blade into the ground. So sometimes I like to show this from here so you can see my shoulders a little bit more. So I'm going to be turning my head to the left, but I'm going to think of my right shoulder blade and push it into the ground as my head turns to the left. And then I'll come back to the center. Your head's on the ground, right? You're going to turn to the right slowly. And as you turn to the right, press the left shoulder blade into the ground. And you'll get a little more stretch around the collarbone, the pectoral muscles. And then just release it. So doing that a few times. Use the ground. Use the blanket if it's underneath you. Turn to the left as you press the right shoulder blade into the ground. And release. And then the other way, and check. Is everything else staying relaxed in the lower half of the body? Crazy things will happen, like your low back will try to move your neck. Let it stay relaxed. And then if you want to add a little bit more to this, I'll go to the right next time. As my head turns to the right and I push my left shoulder blade down, I'm also going to just reach the left hand towards my feet a little bit to create a little more stretch through the left side of the neck. And I might even lift my chin up like I'm looking over my right shoulder. And you can hold it there for a breath or two and slowly, completely release it. Then the opposite direction, turning to the left. Push your right shoulder blade into the ground. Reach your right hand and armpit towards your feet. Maybe even take your gaze up just a little bit so you can feel. You can even take your left hand. Feel those muscles on the right side of the neck lengthening. Sternocleidomastoids and your scalene muscles. And then completely release the head, the neck, and the shoulder. Let's do that to each side one more time. Turning to the right, pressing left shoulder into the ground. Reach the left hand away from you. Maybe lift your chin up away from the collarbones like you're looking over your back right side. And then slow, complete release. So you're using the ground. Turn to the left. Press right shoulder blade down. Reach the right armpit or hand towards your right waist. Take your gaze up just a little bit. Notice where you feel. So it's a sense of tension, engagement, but lengthening through the right side and shortening through the left. And then release. That's just a little bit of a warm-up. And now take your shoulders, roll them around a little bit. And we'll change into our cactus arms. So take your arms out to your sides in a T to start. This is going to be our position that we'll go into for cactus arms. And if you look over, your hand should be at about the height of the shoulder. And you're going to bend your elbows and take your wrist creases right over your elbows. So your forearms are growing out of the floor. And let your wrists be floppy and relaxed. So something that's really helpful is to think of your shoulder girdle as opposed to your arms. And when we want to move more from the shoulder girdle, the part of the arm we focus on is the upper arm. So if you think of your upper arm like a rolling pin, you're going to slowly just let both hands fall forward. You're not going to force them. My wrists are floppy. Let them fall forward. So that's your internal rotation of your shoulders. And you might notice how the back of the shoulder blade, the upper back area, lifts off the ground. So just sense that, and you can even kind of look or see, can you touch the floor, or how far is the floor from your fingers? Because this is a little bit of a self-assessment here to see if this movement is good for you, if it's helpful. Of course it's good for you, but how helpful is it? And then lift back up, and we'll do a little assessment of our external rotation. So keeping our wrists in line with the elbows, keep that 90 degrees. Just slowly let the hands fall back. And see, so do your hands touch the ground? Do both touch the ground? Is one floating off the ground? So you can even look. You can look and see where they're landing, but also feel. Do you feel more tightness or resistance on one side than the other? And then lift back up. And we're going to do this movement, but alternating the arms. So here's our cactus part. You want to keep those wrists floppy, keep the elbows in line with the wrists. So we don't want to drop the arms out to the sides. And then as you exhale, if you want to do it to your breath, just let the hands fall with gravity, left hand down by your waist and right hand overhead. Inhale, lift back up. So the effort is on the inhale to lift. The exhalation is just letting gravity have its way with the weight of your arms. But you can also sense it, the way that your arm bones are rolling, like rolling pins, the upper arm bones. As one rolls inward towards your heart, the other one rolls away. And then once you find this pattern, I keep looking at you, so I'm turning my head like I can see you. I wish I could see you all. We're going to add the head. And what I ask you to do is add the head in the way that it feels most natural. So meaning, does it feel most natural to look at the top hand or the bottom hand? And just see what your brain does if you let it have its way with you. If you look at the top hand or the bottom hand, and then rolling the head back to the center on the exhale. As little effort as possible when the arms go down, and just enough effort, the right amount of effort to lift them back up. And remember when we were rolling our head from side to side, can you still get that feeling of your skull being fully supported? Feel all 12 pounds of your head rolling side to side. encourage you to do this with your eyes opened and closed. And think about how you can initiate the head movement from the soft palate, from the nose, from the base of the skull. The other thing I sometimes check is one of the compensations is the elbows will start to slide down. So sometimes you got to recheck yourself. Just bring those elbows back up to the height of the shoulders again. And then whichever way you were looking, so if it was towards your upper hand, you're going to switch and look at your lower hand. So for me, I'm going to go there now to my lower hand. And if it was the other way, if you're looking at your lower hand now, turn your head towards your upper hand. So just switch the direction of the head, which hand it's looking at. The less natural side. And so I just like to point out things that I notice is as soon as I switch to the less accessible side, I could feel myself trying more to engage the muscles in the front of the throat like I was trying to lift my head up. And I have to remind myself, just let the head be heavy and roll. And all I did was switch the direction of my gaze, right? So just noticing those things. Take a few more. And when you get really good at it, you can go back and forth between which hand you're looking at. So as soon as we can check out, because it seems easy, change something. Because that's the whole idea, is we're reprogramming the muscles. We're creating communication between the muscles and the nervous system and the brain. Pay attention. Do your last one here. And then coming back to the center, let your wrists be floppy, check your position of your arms, and we'll just do another assessment. So let both hands fall forward. So I don't know if you can see me right now. I know this one always works for me. But my fingers are touching the ground now without any force, and they were a couple inches off the ground before. So I know that it just loosened things up. So that's the check towards the internal rotation. We can come back and then go into the external rotation. For me, my hands are once again touching the ground, but now there's more of a heaviness and a relaxation through the shoulders, more of an openness in the front of the pectoral muscles. And pectoral muscles are part of our muscles of protection, right? They protect our front area. So we want to let those go. So that's your assessment. Just take a moment, place your hands in your heart, because we recognize that our hands and our arms are an extension of the heart. And our neck is the superhighway, that's what I call it, the superhighway between your heart and your head. The feelings in your heart and your thoughts in your head. Can't imagine why there's ever any stickiness or discomfort there, huh? All right, and then we're going to switch. We're going to go into our angel wings. So with the angel wings, I'm going to ask you to roll onto your left side first. And there's a couple different ways to set up the legs. I'm going to show you my favorite way, which is I use a bolster. I let the bottom left leg extend a little bit and bring the right leg forward. But what I want to watch is that I don't want to let the right hip fall in front of the left. I want to keep the right hip stacked on top of the left. So for me, that means, not one, but two, I put some bolsters underneath my knee. If you don't have the bolsters, or if you don't want to do that, you can also just stack one knee on top of the other. Sometimes even that's more comfortable, though, if you put a pillow, a blanket, something between the knees. Because again, it's about letting the low back and the legs be comfortable. We're really not working with those. Now here, we want to support the head in a way that the right side of the neck isn't shorter than the left. In fact, if you can keep it a little bit longer, do that. But you may find that you want a little bit of something underneath the head to lift your left side of your face. And if that's the case, make sure it goes behind your head, because we'll be rolling the head. So I'll take it towards the front here. Start by taking your right arm up towards the sky. And we've got a light bulb in our hand. And you're just screwing in that light bulb and taking it out. And I'm imagining holding that light bulb because that's going to activate the muscles more. So if I'm just kind of loosey-goosey moving it, that's very different than hold that light bulb, feel the muscles hug the bones, and then sense the muscles in the arm, where you're initiating movement from the arm muscles, but then how that lands in your shoulder. What do you feel in the front of the shoulder, by the collarbone, in the back? And then you don't have to keep it straight up. You can keep exploring this. So that's that internal rotation and external rotation. Just a long arm now. And take it in different places. Take it behind you. So I'm doing my best so to keep the elbow straight. Of course, if you can't for any reason, that's all right. But think of moving from your upper arm bone again. Rotating it. I'm actually about to do, we're having pizza night tonight. We got a pizza oven. For any of you that want to come visit, we've now officially have a wood-burning pizza oven. And I'm practicing, getting ready for everyone. But rolling pin, right? There's your rolling pin in your arm. So take a few more of those. And so that's learning to move our shoulder from our arm. But now I want you to let your arm relax. Think of the shoulder, so the girdle goes from the inner collarbone to the outer shoulder, and just make some circles with the shoulder first. So if I were using my arm, it would look like a swimming motion and my whole arm would move. But I'm going to say, arm, be quiet, be heavy. See if you can slowly roll from the shoulder. And can you feel the difference of now moving from the shoulder? You might get a little more stretch through the neck. Everything else relaxed, and then we start to make circles. So when we make the circles, I call it a double spiral. The one spiral is the arm movement that you can add in at any time, but the primary spiral is the shoulder moving. So think of moving from your bony landmarks of your collarbone and your shoulder blade. So I'm going to sweep my arm in front of me and over, and I think of reaching out from those bony landmarks, collarbone and shoulder blade. I'm going to come all the way behind and let my head roll and follow. That's why you want to have something behind your head. Go all the way back without bending the elbow if you can, and come back. So it's like you're trying to watch your hand with your gaze, if you can. You'll notice the way your torso has to respond. But think of moving from your shoulder blade and your collarbone, the girdle, and you can also do that secondary spiral. You could be playing with your light bulb, or maybe it's a doorknob, while you're rolling back and forth. Watch your hand, like there's something exciting in your hand. Okay, here comes the tricky part. As soon as it starts to get easy, I want you to continue in the same direction with the circles with the arm, but I want you to look in the opposite direction of your hand. So as your hand goes up and to the left, you're going to kind of look down over your right shoulder. Your hand will come up overhead. You can look down towards your right knee. And then I begin to look overhead back to the left as my hand goes towards my right hip. So I'm really walking you through it slowly. But imagine you're trying to not see what's in your hand. So one of the compensations that often happens here is, first of all, you might find you just switch the direction of your arm. I see that a lot. But also that all of a sudden you're trying to lift your head up. Can you still let your 12-pound head be 12 pounds? And you've got that secondary spiral if you want to add that in, turning the doorknob. So there's one last part to this. Yes, I laugh because it's interesting. Interesting's my favorite word. And that is, you're still looking in the opposite direction of the hand, or your nose is going in the opposite direction of the hand, but your eyes are actually going to try to look at the hand. So the head is going in the opposite direction of the eyes. The eyes are following the hand. Yeah, that really makes it fun, but you can give it a try. If it makes you laugh and smile, it's worth it. Take a few more. Notice that freedom of movement in the head of the arm bone. And then maybe you want to take a few last ones, letting your head follow your hand again. Go back to what's more familiar and comfortable. So here's something I noticed, and my body position hasn't moved. But when I started this, I had room to the window. Now my fingers are touching the window. So I know that I have just expanded through this right arm. And the thing we remember is that we have to hold a certain level of tension in our muscles. I mean, it's what keeps us upright. And when we sleep, a lot of that hopefully disappears. Or if we were on some sort of anesthesia, it all disappears. But we need some tension. But there's a difference between the tension that supports us and the tension that causes discomfort. So if you've increased your motion, then you're probably letting go of that tension that really isn't helping you. Finish your last angel wing. Take that arm down. And before we switch sides, we're going to roll back onto our back. Just pause. We'll take that the midway report. It's like halftime report here, right? Wherever you want your hands and your arms. And just being present in yourself. Feeling the space around your shoulders. You're breathing into the middle and upper lobes of the lungs. Take a nice chest breath. And just feeling left and right, sensing. The slow spots of awareness are really important. Notice if you get agitated, you're like, come on, let's keep going, right? Can you just say thank you to your body for what it just did? And then we will switch sides. So I'm going to turn towards you, which means a blanket comes with me. We're coming on to our right side. And this is one, if you have the blanket on your mat, it does give you a little extra padding underneath that bottom shoulder and hip. You can either stack your knees, maybe even stack. Do you want something between them? Or I like to extend my bottom leg. I actually sleep like this quite a bit. And put the top knee on something so that my left hip is staying stacked on my right hip. Just check to see whatever's underneath your head goes back behind your head to leave you room to turn. And settle in first. Let the right side relax. And then cue your left hand and arm so you can take it up. And notice how much force it takes just to feel the muscles hug the bones first. Like if you're gripping something with your hand. And then turning. And so I can always tell the difference too. If I'm just turning my hand, there won't be much movement at the shoulder joint right here. So when I keep it active, I can really feel it in the shoulder blade, in the collarbone. And just play with turning the arm different places. You can drop it behind you, take it overhead. It's all up to you. Sometimes I forget the exact amount, but there's something crazy like 42 or 46 different combinations of movement that our shoulder can make, combinations of muscles. So play with all of the ways that you can find to make movement in your arm right now. And feel the way the shoulder responds. Does the shoulder come forward? Does it go back? Does it go down or up? And then let that left arm be heavy and see if we can move the head of the arm bone or the shoulder from the girdle. So think from the collarbone area and the shoulder blade. And start to make slow circles. So you can come up towards the ear, push the shoulder blade back, Take the armpit towards the waist. Take the collarbone forward. If it doesn't happen easily, use your arm first. Use that swimming motion of the arm and then let the arm relax. And move those bony landmarks. You can go both directions. This is just like lubricating the joint. Right, we did this with our hip too. We did the hip circles or stirring our hip. Now we're stirring our shoulder. These can be done seated when you're sitting in a chair too. All right, so now we've got some sense of we can move our shoulder from our arm. We can also move our arm from our shoulder. And we're going to put that together. So you're going to begin to take that left hand, come forward and upward. And go all the way, keep it slightly active. So the other way I keep it active is think of plugging the arm bone into the shoulder. So not completely reaching, but plugging in. And then as you go behind you, let your head roll, let that left shoulder blade come towards the ground. I'm going to hit the wall already, so I need to move away. And follow your hand with your gaze. The other thing that does help, we didn't do it on the first side, but you can certainly try it now, is if you think about your left lung. You can take a big breath into your left lung. As you're reaching up overhead, let your muscles of respiration expand because the lung itself expands, right? That will stretch them. So it's not really the arm creating space in and around the shoulder and the torso. It's a breath too. And just feel the way you roll forward onto your right ear and your forehead, and then towards the middle of the skull, towards your left ear. So let your head and your neck go through its full roll. Can you let your head almost feel weightless? And just as it gets really easy, and you've been watching your hand, don't watch your hand. Look in the opposite direction of the hand. Like you don't want to know what's in there. And just check that you didn't just change the direction of your circles, or that you're trying to lift your head, or anywhere else that tension could show up in your body, resistance. And I noticed the other side, for whatever reason, was really flowing quite easily. I could even talk to you while I'm doing it. Sometimes that's tricky for me. And this side is taking a little more concentration. It's vocalizing that it wants my full attention. So if you want to add that last part, that's when you would turn your gaze, or your head, away from the arm and the hand, but let your eyes shift towards the hand. And yes, it is possible. This is all part of resetting that neurocircuitry, taking us out of our usual, what we call muscle memory, the ways we always moved, our habitual movements, right? Muscle memory can be great. It can save us time and energy, but it can also create some really crappy, uncomfortable patterns of movement in our body. We get stuck. We'll take a few more, and then if you want to open it up again, and I always like to finish by watching the hand. And once again, I can feel how now my fingers are running into the window behind me. Success. I'm longer. I already have ungodly long arms, so everybody's proportions are different. Take a few more. Enjoy. Thank you. Left hand, arm, side of the neck. and then pause. And today we're going to finish just with a short rest, but we're going to come on to the belly, and we're going to come into what we call Makrasana or crocodile pose in yoga. And you've got that blanket there, a pillow. If you want to use it, please do. You can put it underneath your head. So typically we would take opposite hand to elbow and rest your forehead on your top arm somewhere on one of your arm bones, if that feels okay. If not, use the blanket however it feels best for you. So let the tops of the feet come to the ground. You can shake out your legs. I'm actually going to remove the blanket for myself. And just letting your chest and your lungs settle into the ground. But now breathe into the front of the shoulders. As you breathe in, you'll sense the way that the front of the chest slightly presses into the ground. Like it's coming forward and upward, but it's meeting that resistance. And then just fall into the ground as you breathe out. Let your armpits relax and be heavy. The weight of your head is completely supported by the ground or your arms. Neck is relaxed. Take a few more breaths in and around the collarbones, the fronts of the shoulders, the heart, front of the heart. Maybe even sipping the breath into the base of the throat. And then switch your gaze, that inner gaze, into your back body. Feel your shoulder blades, backs of the shoulders, back of the neck, even the base of the skull. And take a few breaths into the back body, the upper back body. Feeling the rise and fall of your shoulder blades. Give your shoulder blades sitting on your ribs. The lungs expand, the ribs spread, the shoulder blades lift. As you release, empty the lungs, shoulder blades drop, ribs come back in and down. Breathe right into the back of the heart. Think of the space right on the inner edges of the shoulder blades. And before we leave this position, just acknowledge your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your hands and arms for what they bring you, what they allow you to do, whether that's for yourself or others. But also remembering that our hands and arms allow us to push away or let go of what we don't need or what doesn't serve us. And then feeling into the shoulders. And superheroes always have broad shoulders. The shoulders are meant to protect. We say they sometimes have to carry the weight of the world. But rather than carrying the weight of the world, let everything slide off your back right now. Anything you can. And allowing yourself to let the thoughts in the head and the feelings in the heart freely entertain each other. Floating through the neck. Before we leave, if you want to join me in a full body stretch from here, I like to do that. We can do a full body yawn. You might even roll your toes under, press through. Come onto your fingertips. Take a big breath in. Reach your hands, draw your armpits and your shoulder blades towards the ground. Even a little bit of a back bend. You can lift your head up, feel the back body's engaged. One more breath in, and then on a breath out, let it all go. Just be floppy. You're welcome to do that again. Do a full body yawn on your front side. I'm going to take my time and step up to you. And see how you're feeling now. I will address all your comments, and I'm here for a bit, but I'm going to take my hands to my heart center. Honor what's in your heart. Know that that has a lot to do with the health of your shoulders and your throat, your neck. I'm thankful that you're all with me today. Keep doing good for others with your upper body. Peace, joy, love, and light.